Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master doing a video today. I'm gonna do more videos because it's kind of ridiculous, but I've noticed I'm losing weight. So I'm like, oh well, I don't feel as like self-conscious about doing videos when things aren't hanging down to here with my chin. It's just I've noticed that. And then another thing that happened to me the other day is that there was a shirt that used to hang over my belly. It was this Motorhead shirt. And I'm like, I mean, it used to like come up, and then I have a couple Motorhead shirts, but I put it on. I'm like, oh, it's gonna do that. And it didn't. I'm like, holy shit, I must be losing weight. I'm like really happy about that. So I'm just celebratory about that a little bit too. So I'm gonna be doing more videos and stuff. So this video is about uh, drugs, and it just got me thinking watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial about drugs and how I view things with drugs and some of the stuff that I've done, like with regards to that scene, growing and talking to other people about this too. And the thing is that it's pretty common that people smoke a lot of marijuana in the scene that I'm in now, meaning music scene, cultural scene, and stuff like that. But the one thing about that is that I've never been a huge pot guy. I've talked about this before in videos like years ago, but it's like I was like there was like a summer in high school where I did hang out with the most biggest potheads in this town downtown and stuff, and I used to beg for they called it spange, ask for spare change and stuff on the street. These juvenile delinquent kind of punk kids and stuff. I hung out with them for a summer in was that junior year of high school, or I can't remember. It was junior year or between sophomore and junior year. It was one of those summers that I did that. I'd have to think back, but the one thing that bothered me is it was just so unifocused, and I get focused and obsessed with stuff myself, but the thing is that it got really boring after a while. And there were a couple of times where I smoked like a little too much, and then I would sit there, and it was in this park called, well, I'm gonna dox this city because people probably who know this city probably know what I'm talking about. It's called Concrete Park. So I sat in Concrete Park, or that's the nickname. I don't think that's the official name. And so the thing is that Concrete Park, I was sitting there. I just got a text, so I'm kind of distracted for a second. Excuse me. So I just sat there one day, and I was depressed, like really depressed and I just smoked a little too much. And we used to go out in between this alley and smoke sometimes out of a pot can. And I've known this is kind of an infamous thing people sometimes do. So it got old after a while, and some of my friends got further into the drug scene, more and more drugs, because it was a gateway drug. And no matter what you say, if a person's doing drugs, I mean, I think it's worse that if it's since it's illegal, and then dealers deal this and that together, or they lace stuff sometimes, and the whole thing was like my brother actually, I think he got busted dealing something when he was dealing drugs. Anyways, I'm going to tell more stories about my brother because people seem to actually be entertained by that, by the way. So, whole thing with with this whole thing, I'm kind of stammering a little bit. Oh my God, shit! I should be more practiced for this video. But anyways, the whole thing, was just like all these people that I hung out with in high school. Like a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them became harder drug addicts later on. Like, oh, I would only snort heroin, and then later on he became a junkie on the streets. These kids, I'm still friends with a couple of them, and I know some of them. So that's one thing about the pot thing. But the whole thing, what I'm trying to get at here, which is taking me 5 minutes in the damn video, pardon me, is that a lot of younger chicks, a lot of younger women are really into weed. And it's one of those things that I have to face up to. And, a lot of people that partake in the same, well, I wouldn't say this is a lifestyle because it's not that, I'm not living in total abundance with it. I'm just saying that the experiences that I've had so far and trying to get more into the lifestyle that I'm living when you're dating a lot and meeting a lot of women and stuff, especially since, and I'm not saying like I have to date women that are 25 and not, if they pass 30 I have to not date them, or 35. No, I'm not saying that. I might do some separate videos about this. I know I've talked about this a lot. I'm just trying to, I have a clarification about this whole thing. I've realized a lot of stuff about my dating habits or, thoughts. I might actually do a separate video today. Fuck it, I'll do it. I think I have enough space on the phone to do the second video. So the whole thing, get to the point, god damn it. So the whole thing is kind of a conundrum because I grew up around a lot of pot, and I would dare say that it can be abused and it can be overused and abused. And I'm sorry to tell people that, there's a lot of pro-pot propaganda. I'm not Alex Berenson about pot. That guy's off his fucking rocker because he wrote this sort of anti-pot, tell your children book. Okay, with the COVID stuff, I'm a little bit more sympathetic with him, but with the pot stuff, I'm like, I think there is bad effects mental health-wise with pot for certain people, though. I'll agree with him there. But I grew up around people smoking weed all the time, like laughing, and I was just like, I was in a lot of emotional pain. Like, and I grew up, and it was just such a callous moment for these people. And I'm not pointing the blame at anybody. It was friends too, and people, just like, yeah, and they start talking like that, and I grew up around this stuff, and it was really irritating and annoying. So I never got really that into weed. I mean, I did last summer, I did this edible that really fucked me up. Like, I was like off the walls, like crazy. Like it was too much. I mean, I enjoy doing that, once in a great while, but it's like, that's like crazy shit, definitely I can't do the whole thing, because my tolerance is way low. So, but dating is very tough because sometimes, they say a 420 friendly, this stuff in their fucking profile, or they are huffing that pipe. So I had an ex that she would vape weed like once a day or twice a day, right? And she acted perfectly normal. But as the relationship progressed, she started to do, at least it seemed like to me, a lot more weed, and she started smoking out of a regular pipe. That was when the relationship was over. I was just like, oh my God. Because she was like, what? What? Like losing her cognitive ability to keep up with my burgeoning intelligence. I'm just making fun. But anyways, it got really old and really stale, and, really, it just got really weird at times. I just couldn't deal with it. It's like, and it's kind of a dilemma I have to face. It's like, well, it's one of those things with dating younger women that you have to face, because if an older woman that's more established, may not be doing all that stuff. She might have her wine on the weekends, or fucking, what's it called? The mimosa. What is it called? The drink with the orange juice. I forgot what the fuck it's called. Anyways, that's something you have to deal with, is that kind of level of partaking in that kind of stuff. And in the rock scene, metal scene, and you put the two and two together, it's unavoidable. That's going to be the case probably for me, as someone that's dabbled into some of that stuff. And it's not a big deal if it's even once a day, like what I said, when she was vaping and stuff, it was all fine. But when she started, and the relationship was going weird too, so I think she was probably self medicating. But it just gets really old and really gross, and it just gets kind of annoying. It's like, oh, you got to go smoke a whole fucking bowl to go, to go to this movie or whatever, or to go to this concert. And it's like, Why do you have to do that? I mean, obviously people ask me about my cold brew drinks and my coffee and my coffee. I drink a lot of coffee, but does it affect me like that? Like, drink some coffee, you know, and stuff like that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that at all. So, I'm not. I'm not saying okay. I'm not saying it's bad. You know, like I have to deal with it. It's something I have to deal with as a person. You know, other bad habits with this girl too, of course. But it's just something I have to deal with. It's something I have to face, and it's not gonna go away. Is my point. And I guess I could lead by example, live by example, and just not do it. And if she has enough of me, she can, you know, dump me or whatever. But it's really gross to date someone that's smoking pot all day. You know, it's like to me, it's like the equivalent of a girl hating a guy that plays video games all day. Anything in excess is annoying. I don't care if a girl smokes pot at the end of the day, like has a bowl, okay? But if they're puffing that shit all day on your date, that's bullshit. Fucking next, you know? Next, as they call it in the dating, you know, the PUA scene, they call it nexting someone, right? Next. No, I can't deal with it. So it's going to be a threshold I have to think about in the future, as far as what I can tolerate. You know, when I was like, there's this dating coach that I'll admit I was working with this dating coach years ago, and because I did say it, I don't know if I admitted in these videos that I went to one of those PUA boot camps, but this guy was talking about what are some like deal breakers, and the irony was no one that's like smoking pot all the time and lives 70 or more than 30 miles away, all this stuff. I started dating a girl that had every deal breaker in it. Years later, it's pretty funny, but like, you know, I keep running. I mean, obviously that's gonna happen. That's one of the ironies of life, you know. But yeah, it's something that you have to deal with. And chicks like to change their consciousness, you know. I think women are really into like cocaine. That's another thing. Like a lot of girls are into cocaine. And in this town, like I realized growing up, this town is full of druggies. I'm not trying to be harsh, but it's true. You know, people are doing drugs like they're going out of style. And I think that is a deal breaker. If someone smokes pot, I'm not gonna. I'll still date them, but like doing like regular lines of coke, ugh. So gross. I'm not like, well, there's this person that I know that thinks, and she's kind of a drug like warrior, and she thinks that a line of coke will give you a heart attack right away, or so acts like that. It's like, no, I don't think that happens. But some people are too into coke and too into these drugs and stuff, and smoking pot is like is harmless, but you know, if you do it all the fucking time, there's a problem. If you're puffing that shit all day. Because I swear, this ex that I had, I swear there was times that she was puffing it all day. I mean, things seem to change. Maybe it's my imagination. Maybe we could have worked it out and talked about it and stuff. But it's just like, it gets so annoying and old. It's one of those habits, you know, that it's really gross. Like, I understand people need their medication, but it gets stale if they're doing it all day, especially from a regular pipe. Like when she was vaping twice a day or whatever, or maybe she was vaping all day and I didn't even know it. Maybe that's why she went to the bathroom all the time. I thought she was coking up. But anyways, that's about all.